So design patterns are basically like a proven general solutions to common type of problems, okay, which actually enforces you to build the application more scalable, modular, readable, and maintainable. I don't want to go into this one. This is like the technical LabVIEW jargon, which has like a simple, you already understand this. But the design pattern will enforce you to develop in such a way so that whatever language you speak, like if you develop the application using the design pattern, the another person sitting to the another corner of the world will be able to pick up the code, and then just looking into the design pattern, they can have a hunch. Okay, this application has to execute a certain way. So there are many various different types of design patterns, as you can see. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this one because like we cannot even cover all of this. The ones in the greens are like the NI standard design pattern that you can find in the NI course material as well as in the NI website. And the yellow ones are from the community, for example, JKI state machine, Delacour QMH, and like Q controls. And there are like many others as well. Like these are the part of the LabVIEW champions. So I promoted them as well here. So these are the different types of design patterns. Okay? We'll come into this one. No need to worry about that in a moment. Now the question might arise. Okay, why so many types of design patterns? Okay, why so many types of design patterns? Like because like you have been like some of the people I met, unfortunately, like some of the people I meet while I conduct the training, or like I meet during some of the events, they will come and then say that like their objective is just to deliver the project. But it's fine to develop the project, deliver the project, the customer is happy, your employer is happy. But like when you have to maintain that code, or you you pass that code to somebody else, it actually becomes a pain to that another person. So let's say like I've met like some other people during the training, and then like when they come to my training, they say that, oh, like this is also possible using LabVIEW. Okay? So some people will say that like a state machine is my favorite design pattern. Okay? And I use it in all my applications. Now, like let's say a new requirements comes, okay, because you have a standard like design. So basically, like if new requirements comes, something like this will happen. Okay, you do not know like a word escape. So basically, like if you guys have read a book called like a Book of Five Rings, it's written by one of the samurai from like ancient Japan called Miyamoto Musashi. He was a Zen master as well, meditator, as well as a Buddhist. So he wrote that like you should not have any special fondness for a particular weapon or anything else for that matter. Too much is the same as not enough. Without imitating anyone else, you should have as much weaponry as suits you. For example, like the main objective is like when you are a developer or something, the more design patterns you know, and based on the scenario, you should be using the design pattern that actually suits the particular scenario. Otherwise, like in some cases, it can be overkill, and sometimes like it will not be enough, and like you have to suffer. Not only you have to suffer, your team has to suffer, your customer has to suffer. And most of the time, like in today's like a changing world, what actually happens is developing application rapidly, as you know, like in the Silicon Valley and some of the other parts, like LabVIEW is the like primary way of like a prototyping their applications. Now let's say like you want to test your product and everything. You have been able to test your product rapidly and then send it to the market. But the main challenge nowadays is not only to reach to the market, but also to like have the capital, or like capitalize that market for a long time. That basically means you should be able to provide the iteration as quickly as possible. If your code is not like maintainable in such a way, then you will run into that kind of issues. So that's why like you need to have knowledge of different kind of design patterns. Now the main reason is like one size does not fit all. Okay. For example, like some people say like this is my favorite design pattern. That does not work if you really want to develop your developer experience. So using the design pattern is must. So you have to use a design pattern. That is very, very important. Like I said, like you are going to standardize your code so that like other people who have understanding of the design pattern can understand the flow of your application, how it works and everything. It's easier to understand the application functionality. And another thing is like you just need to understand that like one thing we have to understand that all design patterns are not scalable. Okay, so you need to understand what kind of design pattern you have to use. And just like using the design pattern is good enough, using the wrong design pattern can also impact developer experience. So we'll come into this one in a moment. Okay, we'll look into like a simple case study. So another thing is like the main important thing is you need to select a design pattern based on requirements as well as the future scope of the application. So you develop the application initially, let's say, there is vague idea, okay? There are like some of the like customers, our customers in Bangalore, based in Bangalore, they are like working on the e-vehicles and everything. And then like they will be developing the application. Now, initially, like since you are into the R&D, initially like you cannot have the full picture of what is going to happen in the future. So in that case, like you have to follow the architecture or the design pattern in such a way that which is going to highly scalable. It might take a lot of time initially to implement it, learn it, how to use it, but it's worth it, okay? Because like I said, like if you want to make your code more usable and everything, then you have to go with that. And next thing is, the final thing is like don't overkill with sophisticated design pattern. As you know, like a few years ago, like we're immediately able to eventually able to implement, you know, the actor framework and everything, all that kind of stuff. So like some people will go and then implement each and everything in each and everything. Just like we discussed already, like some people will say that, okay, state machine is my favorite design pattern. Some people will go on using any kind of like a difficult kind of, not difficult per se, but they will be using like some kind of design pattern which may not be can be done with a simple kind of design pattern, okay, without using like a sophisticated. The main reason is we'll look into that scenario as well, okay, because you are not developing the application only for yourself, but you are developing the application for the customers. And then now like if you look into the evolution of the design pattern evolves into something called framework and then goes into architecture. This is the like a normal you know, progression of like a design pattern. So the difference between the design pattern and framework is, the only difference is a framework can have one or more design patterns within and also has the APIs, okay? For example, like what we refer as a QMH and actor, which is very popular nowadays for scalable applications, highly scalable applications. These are basically frameworks. So as you can see, like it's partially complete software that is, you know, the moment you start with a template, you can run it immediately. You just need to make changes. I'm not saying like it's completely complete, but you don't have to start from scratch like the design patterns like state machine or process company. Yeah. So if you have any questions, you can like post the question over there. Let's